male alpaca may live for 1 year at least with females. Do not let your alpacas to eat from the ground. Alpacas outside for 15 or 20 minutes you find everything on the ground. Full isolation on the walls.
Hello everybody and welcome to the next episode of Alpaca Family Park. In today's video I'm gonna tell you about shed.
The basement of our shed was done by me, of course, and we used a concrete to do it. I will try to put some previous old videos of how did we do it, but it actually took us around a week to build up a form for the concrete. We were not very experienced. Actually, we were zero experienced at that time. And it took us quite some time to level it up correctly. We were leveling with a very, very basic tool. It's actually a water level. So 2-3 days after we poured a concrete, we started assembling the walls. Walls assembly is very simple. Our walls are so to say a sandwich panel. Yes, the skeleton is made of wood, 100 millimeters or 10 centimeters wood, and inside this wood we have a layer of the isolation. And here comes our first mistake. The isolation material that we used was dedicated to be used in flooring or in ceiling. It was the cheapest isolation we could find on the market, and that time I didn't quite understand the difference between a wall isolation, the special isolation lists that are sold in such square lists or bricks. I don't know how to call them. They are very condensed and they never lose the form. So what happens with if you put a wrong isolation? It's actually not critical, but still, after some time, it may get moisture or may some loose places, and it may go down. Yeah, and you will have walls with isolation that is lying almost here. It will slide from the top, I don't know, maybe to here or to here. So thanks God we still didn't face this problem, but be careful to use a right isolation. In the rolls, once again, you should use either on floor or on the ceiling. Never use the roll isolation on the walls. A second mistake I want to warn you about is the entrance door. I don't know why I came up with this solution. It's not practical. The door into your shed must be twice bigger than this, and it must be located differently. Not right in the center, not right in the middle. Think of the gates, some maybe sliding gates, or some different, I don't know, technology. Check on the YouTube before doing actual construction. It looked like a pretty solution, pretty nice solution. Actually, it looks beautiful and I like it, but it's not practical. For example, when I have to bring something inside and it doesn't go through, it doesn't fit. So I have to cut, I have to manipulate in some ways to bring something inside. Again, when you have to get alpacas outside, for example, for shearing or for some medicine shots and stuff like that, it's very hard sometimes when to get them through this tiny door when they are not willing to get out. You know what I mean. So, second thing, avoid tiny doors. Never do them. It's good. Let's speak about the positive parts. Your shed must have the window. It looks like initially we thought not to have the windows, but we ended up with a very few light inside the shed. And natural light and natural sunlight is more helpful for your animals. So always think of having a window or a natural light entrance for your animals. First thing is they get the vitamin D. They see what is outside. They are less nervous, and you see what is inside. And it's a disinfection, by the way. Ultraviolet, it's a disinfection. So of course, don't exaggerate by putting 10 windows in your tiny shed, but still, any shed should have a windows for sunlight, for sure. And now I would like to show you what is inside, the setup inside, the feeding place, and again some parts of what you should skip and what you should know how to do correctly. So now we are inside the shed, and I want to show you the setup inside. First of all, you have to think, how many alpacas do you plan to have? In the beginning, when we were buying, we had only four alpacas, and our ultimate goal was to have, I don't know, maybe six or maybe seven. And now our desire is to have 10 plus alpacas. And now we are facing our poor planning strategy because this shed is not suitable for 10 alpacas. First, think how many alpacas you will have or potentially may have in the nearest future, because you don't want to build a shed every year. This is what we ended up with. Here on my right side, it's a plastic tube for the water collecting system, mounted to the wall, and we use it for feeding alpacas. I will show you the alpaca feeding pellets in the later on series when I will speak about the feeding of alpacas, what hay we use, or what feeding pellets we use, because there are different pellets of different manufacturing, different brands, and so on. Here is the place where I put hay. We didn't have this part before, but we quickly realized that alpacas throw the hay. When they grab a hay, it falls down, or they are like pulling what they are not eating everything. If you know what is how alpacas eat, you know that they're not eating everything that you give them. They're always sniffing. They're always searching for something. I don't know, like they always searching for more tasty grasses or hay parts. Um, and they are literally grabbing all it out, and you put something inside, and in 15 or 20 minutes you find everything on the ground. On the ground, of course, we are located in the village area, in the country area. We are located near the forest, and we have some mice, some mouses, some maybe rats. Thanks God I didn't see rats here, but still, do not let your alpacas to eat from the ground. It's a bad practice, and your alpacas can get a disease while eating from the ground. Uh, Alpacas are clean animal. They may have a toilets in different places, but no one is saved from the situations when the alpaca's toilet is located right near the place where they feed themselves. So it's a very bad practice to let alpacas to eat right from the soil, right from the ground. Here, I have um, I have done a very simple boxes. The purpose of these boxes is to collect whatever they're eating. You see, it's falling right there in the box. And then, instead of eating from the ground, they're eating the clean hay from these boxes. So I like this solution. It's cheap and dirty, so to say. Cheap and clean, sorry, so to say. So I recommend this. Setup to everyone who wants to feed not just alpacas but all animals. So now we are at the second half of our shed, and here is the room for our boy. Yes, I admit that this setup doesn't look very nice, and let me explain how did it happen. I was not very experienced, and I thought that a young male alpaca may live for 1 year at least with the females. And this was another mistake of mine. We had to separate our boy in the winter time because he started to jump on the girls, and this happened unexpectedly. He was very quiet and he was very good boy. The shadow one, the black one that you saw in our first video. And we had to construct this a separate room for him rapidly, and we ended up with this kind of setup. What is here? Why we closed this? All this stuff. Because the guy was escaping. He was escaping like a Spider-Man. He was going under. He was going through this. He was going from here, he was jumping over. So we ended up using some old meshes, some old materials. We stick them up to the wall. So now our guy lives separately inside. Our boy inside has absolutely the same setup that the girls have that you just saw. He has a plastic tube in the corner where I put the pellets for him, and he has this setup for the hay, exactly the same stuff. We didn't think of a place where to store the pellets. I had to store them here. Before, I had a wooden box. The only place to store your alpaca pellets is the iron container or metal container, whatever is made from iron or hard material. You would ask me, why are you keeping these materials inside the alpaca shed? Unfortunately, we have to keep them here because again, the bad planning practice. I have to bind them so alpacas not get injured. And what else? We have an electricity here, and we have a camera here for security. This is it about the alpaca shed inside. Another thing to think about in prior is the water. The water here, if it stays on the ground, first they peel it out. You will find a place, maybe like we did. We found a place where they don't actually play with it too much, but still, when the weather, we notice that when the weather gets -5 outside, the water starts freezing. I really don't want, and I don't recommend to anyone to use the heating wires, because in the end it's electricity. And if you do it on your own risk, or I don't know, get all insurance done prior doing that. You know, you see it's a hay on the ground, so you have to be very, very careful about that, not to get, I don't know, electrical cuts, and not to get a fire inside. So I'm very concerned about this, so I don't use any heating wires. I'm afraid of them, to be honest. But after one or two winters, you will think of getting something to heat up the water, because it's very hard for animals to drink if the water is frozen. I still didn't find a solution for this. What we do, I'm pouring the hot water inside every day, and it's enough for one day only. So maybe after 5 or 10 hours, it's getting frozen. And thanks to alpacas, they are not very thirsty animals. They don't like drinking water. So I'm always on time whenever they want to do it. Basically, this is it about the shed. So by the way, our shed is around the 7 meters by 4.5. So 30 meters for 6 alpacas is not enough. Is really not enough with this setup. Do your plan carefully prior constructing your shed, and make sure that you calculated everything. You know how many alpacas you will have in nearest 2-3 years. And basically that's it. We have a place there where we keep hay. We were having an idea that we will store our hay somewhere outside. We will cover it with some isolation materials and so on, and we wouldn't face a problem, let's say, keeping hay. We were keeping actually some bales there. Our hay was destroyed by the weather conditions, and we ended up separating a place for the we ended up with a separating place for some benches for the place for hay. You see, here this year here I have put around 120, I don't know how this one is called, but around 120 bricks like this. They're lying on the pallet, they're not touching the ground. Eventually they have a very good isolation. So the problem number 4 is the place for the hay. So people, I think this is it. This is all about our shed, about our alpaca home. I hope you noticed some information from this video. The main point is to have a good plan, to have enough space, to plan the entrance well, to use right isolation, and to have a separate place for your boys. Or just don't breed the boys, keep the girls. This will make your life much easier. And the last thing, last but not least, is a place for the hay. So if you have all the things that I have just said with a marked as done, you are ready to keep your alpacas or any other animals. I hope my English is enough so you understand what I'm trying to explain to you, hopefully. So, guys, if you like the video, please subscribe and click the like button. Leave your comments and your questions below. We are always monitoring the question parts, the comment section. We are happy to share our experience more in the comment section. Our next series will be about the tiny house. It's right here. Let me show you. Yes, the next series will be about construction of a tiny house. It's not finished. It's far from the finish. So I will tell you about how I did it. Again, we did it by ourselves. DYD, another DIY project of ours. Me with my wife, we did completely everything, starting from ground to the roof. Everything is done by myself. So, guys, thank you again for watching. Stay subscribed, like the video. Thank you for all, and bye bye.